Actually now having access to this organic produce, just as an example, on a very, very grounded level, if you eat it, you realize, wow, what the hell have I been eating? You know, it's like there's no taste in the food that we're actually eating now because all of the soils are stripped. There are no nutrients in it. You know, the foods are just grown with a lot of chemicals and artificial nutrients. And Pisao is there. She's a legend. It's been her vision for like almost 10 years to basically turn the island organic. It's a very, very exciting on a very like grounded practical level to be able to offer people to just experience it firsthand.
Welcome to this new episode, and today I am here with Jasmin. How are you, Jasmin?
I'm very good, thank you.
Very
How
nice. I'm very good indeed. So Jasmin is a healer, a teacher, and also is involved with a very interesting project in Koh Phangan, which is a regenerative project that also provides beautiful organic produce to the local community. So very excited to talk to you today. First of all, I'd like to ask you, what is your journey in life up until now?
I knew from a very early age on that I wanted to live a very different life than a very conventional conservative life, and I ended up traveling around a lot, like most of us here in this community. And about 5 to 6 years ago, I started studying different healing modalities, just wanting to figure out how to help people the best way and give my contribution to supporting other people's well-being, quality of life, livelihood, mental health, physical health. I started focusing on Chi Nei Tsang, which is abdominal massage. So releasing stored emotions from the abdomen and the organs and the physical body. And also it's actually, Chi Nei Tsang actually translated means energy massage of the abdomen. So it's very physical, but at the same time also very much like energy work, you could say. And then also focusing on like one of the two specialties in a way have become water therapy. Very selective through my own background in studying prenatal psychology and the impact that we receive already before birth and how actually very severe it is for most of us. And because we of course have no recollection of it really, other than maybe some stories of our parents if they were conscious to like kind of remember. It is the first imprint that we receive without really knowing how it affects us. So it's really complementary to take people into the water and journey into that, and also understand themselves better, fall back into being received fully, like a little baby in a way.
So nice.
Stepping back into trust that life wants us here and that we're welcome, that we're wanted, even though maybe, you know, some of the human layers and dynamics didn't allow us to experience that so much, but the fact that we are here, walking, talking, breathing, you know, on a very spiritual level, life wants us here. So yeah, these were the two things that I've focused on. But then a few years ago, I started kind of not question, but having a very, very strong desire to create more impact to help people. And realizing there are a lot of flaws in the systems that we are working on in our societies, and that we more needs very deep systematic changes. And so I started looking into different community initiatives like CSA, for example, the local food network system that is kind of now the veggie box as the product of it. And yeah, also a bunch of other things actually that all evolve around restoration of very focused on soil and like a social restoration of communities. And one of my latest big obsessions and passions is actually coral restoration. It's been there for a while, but only in the last year or so I've actually started to be connected to different people in the field,
Mhm.
and many different things come together. And yeah, if you look at the science around it, or what people are estimating, the coral reefs, they're not having a really good outlook right now in the world. So it's like good to be proactive and take action. And yeah, there are different ways to grow coral a lot faster and make them more resilient. So implementing that here in the community, that's the vision of it, and things are slowly coming together. So yeah.
Very cool. So of course, you have many things going on and many interests, and there is a common thread, which is sort of having an impact socially, helping others. And restoration, as you mentioned, can be seen across different aspects of life, right? So the coral reef restoration, land restoration, even community restoration. And of course, now you're part of this new project in Koh Phangan called Able.
So we have a company, it's called Able. Able to regenerate, but really we're able to do anything, really focusing on we have a choice to take action, and offering that empowerment and inspiration to people through education, but also something like the vegetable box, for example. It allows people to opt out of the industrial agriculture, and we, of course, growing, you can't make a very drastic shift from like 100% agriculture, industrial agriculture use, to then, all local-based food production. But to start, this is a really big step, and it allows us to support local farmers. We are working together with some locals here to deliver and share different methods, techniques, know-how, how to grow organically or more naturally without chemical dependence. And yeah, it's a very big step in societies in general, right? Because we can take ourselves out of the dependence of where we source our food from, industrial agriculture, which is actually one of the most harmful industries on our planet.
Sure, the Bayer, Monsanto, and the Cargill of this world controlling so much of it,
Yeah.
Absolutely, and you see how modern food is making people sick more and more. So any kind of project that aims to create a produce which is sustainable, is organic, is life enhancing. Can you tell us what is a CSA?
So CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. Community Supported Agriculture is basically a community initiative where people come together to say, hey, we want to work with one farmer or a network cooperative of farmers to support them. The traditional way is to basically pay a good chunk for potentially even a whole season or part of a whole season, growing season. Finance basically the needs of the grower to grow the food. So which is a really incredible opportunity for the growers, because then they don't rely on having to create the biggest, produce food as much as possible, because that usually makes the growers or the farmers reach for the chemicals.
Yeah, to increase yield, maybe even only 20-30% of yield more.
Exactly.
But that's what they can achieve with the chemicals, and then by the long run it's very bad for the land.
Exactly. So it's all about increasing yield. In the end, it's the product they are selling, and then that allows them to support themselves, their family, their children, their community, and so on. So it's more like profit thinking, right? Like all of us in the end have to, get our daily bread.
Pay the bills.
And by coming together with the community, being able to support the farmers financially. And so yeah, the community supported agriculture is based on members. So it's there's a slight shift in looking at it as a cooperative, where everyone kind of, is part of the cooperative and not actually a client. It changes the whole kind of consumerism
aspect of it.
Understanding, mentality around it.
Yeah. And I think put more value onto the food that is produced, if it's organic, if it's sustainable, if it's a small scale, etc. And maybe people then, when they, are part of the CSAs as a member, they receive these beautiful vegetables, and maybe they treat them with a lot more respect, with more love, rather than just going to the supermarket. And I think about 40% of food, up to 50% in America, is bought and trashed. When I discover it's bought and then discarded, not eaten.
Yeah.
When I see things like this, it really pains me, because how is that possible? This consumer society, like, food is just nothing. You just take it, you waste it you let it go off in the fridge, then you throw it away. No problem at all. So that's not good for the environment, obviously. It's not good for your pocket, because you paid for the food. And it's just, there's something wrong spiritually about it as well, right?
Exactly, yeah. If you want to address the spiritual aspect, it's kind of like, to use very, like, it sounds very religious, but the falling from grace, the falling from gratitude for life and what sustains us, and the earth that sustains us. So big aspects of the CSA concept is often, people, the community coming together, doing a couple of hours in the garden every week. It brings people together, it gets them in touch with the soil, microbes on the hands, which then also, the gardening practice in itself allows people to understand, where their food comes from, and then allows them to understand that it takes a lot of work, and that the people that are actually sustaining, all of our societies on Earth are the people that are growing our food, because we all eat once a day, 3 times a day usually.
6 times a day, some people. All the time.
We're here in a tropical climate, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of here. But yeah, the general norm is people eat at least 3 meals with snacks, And it's an overconsumption. Usually we don't actually need to eat that much, but by understanding, wow, this is what it takes to actually grow this, apple, this carrot, or something like that.
Value it more, yeah.
We give more value to it, which comes with more gratitude, which is a therapy in itself, you could say, or it's very healing in itself, yeah.
I can see this as being very interesting as an educational thing for children as well, right? So maybe just working with schools, or even, if you're in Koh Phangan, maybe you're a family and you have some kids and you want them to be more involved with understanding directly how food is produced, etc. So that could be, I see the project having many, many ramifications, and involving different kind of people, because the interest, I think, for organic food is there for different perspectives, and there's an educational aspect of it. You said there's a spiritual aspect.
To also, actually, I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but we are also focusing on kids' education, actually. Okay. So getting the kids back in touch with the earth, and the relationship with the earth, and being very, as our generation now, being very conscious of the fact that, a lot of these kids are the potential leaders of our future generations. So it's very important the most important thing, restore the soils and take care of the children, I always say. And then also, of course, the waters and the oceans, as they're also sustaining us to a big part. But yeah, to focus on the kids and give them the right tools and life skills and concepts, in a way, mentality, right?
Sure. Culture, exactly. Because I think that's what's happening in the modern world, particularly in the West, that people are losing their food culture, In Italy, in some countries a little bit better than others, but you have the McDonald's, you have the packaged food, the snacks, all these multinational companies coming in with the same product across 100 countries, more or less the same advertising campaign. And these are really like, see people adding for pizzas and burgers much more than their local Thai food here as well, possibly. Yeah. That's not so good. Yeah,
we're very confused as a collective, I would say. And actually now having access to this organic produce, just as an example, on a very, very grounded level, if you eat it, you realize, wow, what the hell have I been eating? It's like there's no taste in the food that we're actually eating now, because all of the soils are stripped. There are no nutrients in it. The foods are just grown with a lot of chemicals and artificial nutrients. And it's like very, very exciting on a very like grounded practical level to be able to offer people to just experience it firsthand.
Jasmin, can you tell us a little bit about the logistics? So where is this beautiful sort of land-based and who is involved? How does it work?
I've started to get in touch with some of the local growers here already maybe 2 years ago or something like this, and there's not a lot of food grown here. And then I was introduced to the community-supported agriculture concept and system, which actually was developed in Japan like over 50 years ago. So it really boomed in the States. So it's really incredible to see how on the foundational part is a very simple structure actually. Right here, right now, we don't actually have enough vegetables grown, especially not organic. There are only like a few people that are actually growing without chemicals on this island.
Yeah, I know the organic farm is one of them.
Organic farm.
Seed to feed and the Koh Phangan garden.
Koh Phangan garden, they don't produce that much. There are a couple of other farms that are like local, Thai owned, and they are certified through the Reykjavik farm actually.
Yes, that's the main one.
Yeah. Pisau is there. She's a legend. It's been her vision for like almost 10 years to basically turn the island organic. But then again, you meet the problem and like, why should we do this? The local people are like, it's more effort to kind of go through the whole certification of it and everything. But again, by increasing the demand for it, we can actually allow to expand it further.
Yeah.
So we ran into the problem many times. Okay, how do we actually start this? How can we encourage the growers to grow more food organically? It will take a few months for people to grow more, and then how do we actually finance that? You can't really say to a bunch of people, can you just grow more and then we will get it to you later. So Guy and I had like 100 conversations on like, this is all the chicken and the egg problem. What do you establish first? What can you start first? And talking to other people that run CSAs, and then also realizing, the solution to the problem is first outsourcing the produce.
Okay, so basically you have some farmers who are growing the organic vegetable for you.
Exactly.
You are putting them together, creating the boxes that can be delivered to the members.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, how many farmers at the moment?
It's a cooperative of farmers actually. They're all in the north of Thailand. First thing is to create the demand. To create the demand, we need the vegetables. We get the vegetables from outside, and then slowly, through having the ability and kind of power to say, to the local farmers here, hey, we can buy whatever you grow, or ideally we can collaborate on what we want grown, but ideally, it's a lot of local vegetables that grow very, very, like thrive to grow here. And then of course we also have other things that are in our comfort zone kind of thing. But so slowly we can, to bring it down to the point, we can channel the demand to the local growers, which is a very big leverage point, to be able to say to a person here, we can buy every week of you, this and this much, and that supports the farmer as an individual and their livelihood, and then also the local economy. So it's kind of creating a more circular economy.
I know that in Koh Phangan, one of the problems of growing vegetables in general is that the quality of the soil is not great because it's an island, so there's lots of sand in the soil.
Yeah.
So there's lots of work in preparing the soil to start with composting, or you can bring it in from outside, which is not very efficient or cost-effective sometimes. It's
an interesting thing living on an island that is, you have some islands that are volcanic, you look at Bali, the soil is just some of the richest, that you can find, but here we are basically like an island that was pushed up a bunch of gravel.
Crystal island.
A crystal island.
It's good for the healers, but also good for agriculture.
Not good for agriculture. We need to basically restore and build a lot of soil. So we are actually collaborating with a local farmer here right now. She's had her land for generations and generations, and they've been practicing gardening and growing, actually, you know, small scale, kind of a home garden with, she has lots of durian farms actually and other fruit trees.
I love the
We
durian
love durian,
myself.
yes. Durian people are my favorite people. And yeah, now we're basically supporting her in, it's kind of like a skill exchange and, you know, contribution to, we don't want to be this like patronizing, you know, identity, being like, this is how you do it, but through actually building a relationship and then collaboration and then being able to, from a relationship that is built on trust, you know, and a mutual understanding of what we want to do, the vision, to restore the soil, to grow more food, create abundance. So
it can be done.
We're implementing Guy, who's an amazing expert in permaculture and syntropic agroforestry. We're implementing these techniques and methods, and yeah, it's all about basically creating a lot of organic matter, adding it to the soil. So, you know, you basically build the soil. A lot of the time it takes, you know, even years to do that.
Well, that's very wonderful, and I wish you the best of luck with this project, and we're going to put some links in the description as well if you want to be part of it for a couple of months at least. If you're here, why not? It's a lovely thing to contribute to.
So yeah, for now it's 2 months, but then, you know, we want to keep it going, and it all depends on the engagement and commitment of, and consistency and commitment of the community. So yeah, people come and go here, but I think it's possible.
I know that you are originally also from Thailand, is that right?
So from Thailand, I guess if you go into the semantics of it, I grew up actually in Germany. My dad is German. I grew up with him in Germany, and my mom is Thai. She's from Isan actually. And when I was 20, 21, I was already traveling for 2 years, and I realized, because I didn't actually grow up with a lot of the culture or really the understanding what it means to be Thai or really like fully being conscious of it, I ended up planning my travel route to go to Thailand. I was like, okay, I really need to check out this place, I guess, because half of my genetics are from here. You have a lot of freedom here. I love the tropical weather, of course, and then you have these like micro pockets of expat communities in different places in Thailand, specifically here in Koh Phangan.
Yeah, so that's why.
This is where you want to get to?
Yeah, why did you choose Koh Phangan?
Why did I choose Koh Phangan? So I was traveling actually for 7 years before I ended up here.
Wow.
And I remember after that time, many things shifted and happened, and I just, the biggest thing in my realm of awareness and consciousness was like, I need a home, you know, at some point. So yeah, another thing that really attracts me about this place is that, of course, it's very transient and sometimes it's tiring to be in that, but at the same time, it, you know, always brings fresh energy. So you never have this like stagnant, you know, lulling, like, okay, what, you know, nothing's really happening, changing. People are just really caught up in their day-to-day lives. But yeah, there's always kind of fresh influx of, you know, new thoughts, information, you know, creativity.
Sure. Really
beautiful to be part of a community that comes from all over the world. So realizing that the culture that we live in is, we create the culture, right? Because there's no one prevailing culture. Of course, there's the Thai culture, but then in the expat community, it's like kind of we decide, you know, what we want to stick by. So yeah, and I think also that because it's a tourist destination, you can expose people to a lot of different things, of different values, and you know, they create very education paths that then people can take into other places in the world and integrate there and implement there. So I really love this place for the level of impact you can have here while still living, you know, a very, very natural life, close to nature and close to friends and community. It's not like a huge, big, bustling city.
Okay, well, Jasmin, thank you very much for your chat today. You know, it's been you know, interesting talking to you, and yeah, best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.